What's up guys and welcome to a brand new video. I'm Zimmy Games and today we're going to be talking about the 5 things from the original Fable games that fans want in the reboot and 5 things that they do not want in the reboot. And this is coming from GameRant.com. I'm not exactly sure if they did surveys or if this is just the author's opinion, but I thought it would be fun nonetheless to do a video covering this and seeing how many I kind of agree with and how many I disagree with. And as always, if you guys want to read this full article, I will be putting it down in the description below, so definitely feel free to do that. And as I scroll through, I actually will not be reading out every single thing. I have went ahead and read this article, but I won't be reading everything out to you. I'll just be kind of covering my ideas on each segment. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and jump through. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this video. So scrolling down, the first one at number 10 is Yes Please, A Simpler Time. And what this is basically talking about is like the author, I believe, really wants, you know, not as complex of maybe storylines, and because he does mention here that, you know, simple yet entertaining dialogue, right? Which I can kind of agree with, kind of not agree with. I mean, you know, whenever I played the original Fable games all those years ago, I was a young kid, right? So like the simple dialogue was kind of, you know, directed towards people, I think, or at least I feel, of my age group. But with that being said, a lot of older people played Fable as well. I don't know, like I'm kind of, you know, shifty on this. If they did make the dialogue more simple to understand, I would probably be fine with that. But then he also, let me check. I'm not sure if that's a he or a her. The author also mentions, I was trying to be politically correct and that was a fail. But yeah, so the author, they also mention how they would like to see a more medieval style, or like in the setting, right? A more medieval setting similar to Fable 1, and then I guess also Fable 2, because Fable 2 is more in like a in like the Renaissance age, because there were pistols and stuff. But I'm kind of gathering that he or she, the author, doesn't want to have that industrial setting, and that kind of carries over into point number 9, which is no thanks. The author does not and is implying that fans do not want the industrial setting. And you know, honestly, this is probably going to be the section where I get a lot of you're a fake fan, or you know, whatever, right? People questioning my loyalty to you know, to, I don't know, the Fable gods or whatever, right? I loved Fable 1, I loved Fable 2, and I really loved Fable 3. I loved all 3 of them, all for different reasons, right? But I thought, honestly, all 3 of them were very, very good games. But going into the next Fable game, I definitely agree with the idea that maybe it's probably not the best idea to have an industrial setting, because you know, it definitely was a lot gloomier and doomier, and Fable's always kind of been more bright of a game. I enjoyed Fable 3 for what it was. I really did. I really enjoyed that game. I thought that they did a lot of things right, but I think from like a, you know, like the grand scheme of marketing your game and selling it to a wide audience, the industrial setting probably not the best setting to go with. So I could definitely agree with that. The next one is number 8, Yes Please. The author wants this, the Heroes Guild, and I 110, you know, nay, 120% agree with this. I want the Heroes Guild too. Fable 1, so amazing, you know, spoiler alert, the game starts off very, very brutally. Your parents are, well, they're killed, right? Well, I think it's better to say your parent is killed, because I think your mother's taken alive. It's been a very long time since I played that game. Anyway, doesn't matter. What matters is that the Heroes Guild was so prominent in the first game, and then in the second game, you know, in between the first and second game, the Heroes Guild kinda gets destroyed and goes under, and they can't rebuild, and so blah 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 blah. So like the Heroes Guild is somewhat still a thing in Fable 2 and even Fable 3-ish, but it's not as prominent of like a faction in the Fable universe. And so I definitely agree with this. I want there to be a massive guild hall where I go in there and I talk to people and I get quests. And I think it would also be cool, like in the very first Fable game, you know, you go there after your village is destroyed and you become an apprentice, and you eventually graduate from hero school, and then you go out and you do heroic things or awful things if you want to be a villain, I guess, technically. But I think it would also be really, really cool if they were able to implement like a rank structure in the Heroes Guild. Like, you know, you start as an apprentice, then you move up to, I don't know, like a novice, and then I don't know, like a soldier. I'm making like up ranks, right? But and then ultimately you end up being the master or maybe the grand master of that guild. That would be cool. I would really, really like that. And I think that the Heroes Guild needs to come back. I really do, because it was cool and we didn't really get a tremendous amount of it in Fable 2 or Fable 3. Next one, number 7, no thanks. The Ruling an Empire. So fans apparently do not want to see Ruling an Empire. And, you know, honestly, like, that was a feature that I really, really enjoyed from Fable 3. It honestly really was. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I actually really enjoy doing that, making those decisions, like those good decisions, those bad decisions. I really did, because, you know, Fable's always been a game about moral dilemmas, right? Do you do this to do that or not? You know, do you save the chickens, or do you let them all burn in a barn, right? I don't know. I would probably let them all burn in a barn, but that's just because I hate chickens. Well, I love eating chickens, but in Fable games I always, you know, just kick the crap out of some chickens. Anyway, I digress. But like, Fable's always been about those moral decisions, right? And I really enjoyed that from Fable 3. You know, kind of ultimately, you know, you have all of this gold in the bank, but if you help people, if you keep with the promises that you previously made, then, you know, you're a good guy and people like you. But then ultimately at the end of the game, a lot of people are going to die, right? So there's that big moral dilemma that Fable does so well. And I thought that Ruling an Empire made those choices even bigger and on a grander scale. And that was always something I also really enjoyed from the Fable games, is that your decisions impact you, and they also impact the world around you. And I thought that Ruling an Empire was really, really good. Now, I don't necessarily think that we should be ruling the kingdom in Fable 1, but I would like to see some of those elements come into play. Like, you could, you know, buy businesses like you previously could in other Fable games, but have it maybe a little bit more in depth. Like, you could run other, you know, competing businesses out of business, right? And then that has an effect on the game in some way. Like, I would love to see that same type of thing taking place from your direct action, right? I don't know. I really like the Ruling the Empire thing. Let me know down in the comment section below if you guys enjoyed that or if you hated that. I don't know. Number 6, yes please, the humor. And I absolutely, positively, 180% agree with this. Humor has always been super important to the Fable games. You know, in my opinion, it's not going to be Fable if you don't have that quirky, almost slapstick British humor, right? If you don't have the kicking of the chickens, or the chicken trying to fly with the doves, or, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have that, you know, getting 12 STDs from a, you know, from, well, a prostitute. I don't even know if I should say that. This video is probably gonna get demonetized now. But, you know, like, that type of stuff, just the humor is what makes Fable Fable. It's what rounds out the universe and makes it so enjoyable to play the next game, and then the next game, and then the next game. It's I don't know, it just really adds a lot to the world. And, you know, the author actually says something I think interesting here, and that is, you know, a lot of RPGs today tend to have much deeper and more serious narratives, right? And I agree with that. Like, think The Witcher, think Elder Scrolls, think Dragon Age, right? All of those are amazing RPGs. Mass Effect is another one. All of those are amazing RPGs, but their narratives are very, very deep, and they're very serious, right? The destruction of the entire galaxy, dragons destroying the world. So it's nice to have an RPG that is just lighthearted, fun, and makes you laugh, right? And so definitely, yes, please, the humor. I 110%, no, 180%. That's what I said earlier. Agree with that. Number 5, no thanks to fetch quests. I agree with that. You know, that's actually one thing I really do not like about a lot of RPGs is the fetch quest. I think a lot of RPG fans kind of agree with that. They do not like fetch quests, but they do them anyway so that they can level up their character or get maybe a little bit extra gold, or maybe, you know, hopefully find that ring of awesomeness that's going to increase their stats on their character or something. I don't know. But I agree with that. You know, and the author actually says another thing really, really interesting is instead, the game should hopefully provide more entertaining side stories, even if there are few in quantity. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I would be perfectly fine with there being less quests if they were of higher quality, and if they, you know, if the side quests had a storyline that really got me invested as a player, right? I would be fine with that. And I think an excellent game to look for as an example of that is Kingdom Come Deliverance. Like, all of the side quests in that game, I would say probably 95% of the side quests are like actually made in like scripted and designed side quests, right? Like, they actually carry with them a story of what you're doing. It's not just go pick this wagon up and take it here and then you get 20 gold, right? It's not anything like that. It's actually meaningful. And I really like the way that Kingdom Come Deliverance did do their side quest, and I would kind of like to see something somewhat similar in the way that this Fable does it. I just don't want to go and do the same quest 5 times for a different person, right? Number 4 is, yes please, multiple character options. And this one, in actually, as you read it, to me is a little bit confusing. Like character options, like multiple character options, to me kind of seem, I don't know, just like being able to level up your character, being able to change your character's clothes, and then having the morality system, which I think they mention here. No, they just mention morphing, which I think is like leveling up like your different character abilities and stuff like that in the game. But I don't know. Like, that's what I kind of see from it, and I agree. Like, I 110% want to see that into the game. I want a lot of character options. I want to be able to choose if I want to play as a female, a male, you know, a tall guy, a short guy, a fat guy, a skinny guy. I want like a lot of character creation options. I also want a lot of character options on how I use my skills, how I use my sword, the different types of weapons I can use. And then I would also like to see, you know, a return of being able to, I guess, morph your character, or I don't really remember what it was called. Maybe it is morphing. I don't know. But like transition your character with the morality system. If you do good things, then eventually your character is going to look like an angel. And if you do bad things, then eventually your character kind of resembles a demon. I want that to return as well. And then like the really kind of confusing part is down here in later games, more things around the world change. For instance, in Fable 2 and Fable 3, the player's pet can change depending on the player's alignment. Moreover, the player decisions as Albion's ruler also change the structure of the world. Yeah, I mean, I kind of already touched on that, and I don't really think that that's really character options, like being able to impact the world and stuff like that. I think that more goes with narrative, or more goes with just like game choices, not really the character option. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I agree with that. I definitely want character options. Choice is a huge thing, and you know, choice is what's going to make their game more inclusive and allow more people to actually want to play their game. So absolutely, I agree with that. Next one is number 3. No thanks. They do not want just one storyline. And you know, I could actually go leeway on this. I do like choices. I do like options. I would prefer a branching story with multiple options and all of that. But at the same time, if they only gave us one main storyline to follow down with just a few choices here and there, I would honestly probably be pretty happy with that too. Not as happy if there was like multiple storylines and options to go through, but I would honestly be okay with it. I don't know, like I used to hate linear games. As time goes on, I'm actually getting more and more attached to, you know, a linear story. I don't know, like that's an interesting one. Of course I would be more prone to wanting a, you know, a big expansive world where there's like 18 different endings at the end of the game, right? And all this different stuff. And right here, they also talk about how the first game only allowed you to play as a male character, I believe, and that was made so that the game could have a stricter, more cohesive narrative. And like I definitely do not want that. You know, as I said before with character options up here, I definitely want to have a lot of character options and everything like that. Yeah. I don't know, this one's actually a little bit of a tricky one, I feel. I would be okay with a linear, more, maybe not like a linear story, but a more linear story, kind of like how Mass Effect 3 was, right? Like you still had some choices and some options and stuff like that, but it was a lot more linear and less expansive and whatnot. And I was fine with that, but of course, I would prefer that open storyline with 18 different endings, right? I think a lot of people would. Next up is another yes, please, and that is the alignment system, which I believe is, yes, the purity and morality of the game. And like I said already before, absolutely agree with that. I want that to be in the game. It was just super cool to have your character look like a freaking demon, and if your character was like maxed out on like the evil purity or morality or whatever, like people in villages, I believe, would like run away from you and all this different stuff, and it was just fun, right? I mean, and it's just cool to actually see your choices really taking effect into the game. And I think Fable was really one of the very first games to actually really do that, or if nothing else, do it right. So I think it's very, very critical and important that alignment systems and morality and your character ever changing based on your decisions. I do definitely think that is very, very important going into this Fable game. And the last one is another thing that they do not want in the game, and it's the same narrative as the first Fable game. Of course, this is a reboot. We really don't know anything about the story, about the universe. There was a leak that came out that seemed pretty interesting, but we don't really know anything about the actual world or, you know, the universe or the storyline, really. I mean, all we know is that teaser trailer of the fairy getting eaten by a frog really kind of proves that they do definitely agree with the idea that there should be light-hearted humor into the game. And then also during the teaser trailer, there is the Heroes Guild symbol on the sword, so that would kind of point towards the Hero Guild definitely being a thing in the game. But as far as like the same narrative, like the same plot points of the very first game, you know, this is another one where I would honestly kind of prefer a reimagining of what's going on rather than a copy and paste of the previous narrative. But you know, I'm so thirsty for a Fable game. I would just take like a copy and paste as well. But I would definitely prefer to have a brand new story that maybe shares some similarities to the original, but is definitely standalone and can stand on its own and you know, just give a new outlook of what Fable can be while still maintaining what made Fable in the first place. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it for this article. I actually really enjoyed reading through this and reading through like the author's ideas on Fable and what he or she. I'm still unsure about the author's gender. But anyway, guys, I really enjoyed reading through this. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my opinions and looking through it as well. Be sure to comment down below all of your opinions. You know, do you agree with maybe just having one story? Or are you a little bit hesitant like me? You know, you're unsure of what maybe they should do. You love fetch quests? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you're not already doing so, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. In addition to videos like this, I also do gaming news, reviews, unboxings, tutorials, and all sorts of other things. So definitely never miss out on any of that and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button because it will definitely help other people find this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Peace out, guys.